when it comes to killing animals, the way you described killing me, by just shooting me in the back of the head, for example.
Without suffering, yeah.
Yeah.
Quick and painless.
Suffering then would not justify the murder. That would be a murder. That would be the unlawful and immoral killing of an animal in that regard. Now, if we consider the economic output into the whole thing, what are we actually getting out of it?
I visited the University of Texas, Austin campus yesterday, and I performed some spectrum street epistemology, wherein I allow participants to move on the spectrum from neutral to strongly agree, and in the opposite, strongly disagree, based upon Socratic reasoning. After I was done shooting, I helped a friend and fellow animal rights activist set up so that she could partake as well.
I felt something towards the animal.
Had a personal connection.
Yeah.
While she was performing her spectrum street epistemology, I had this gentleman walk over to me and ask what we were up to. After I began to explain, he was intrigued, and we began having a conversation off camera. I then asked if we could continue the conversation on camera so that I could share with you, the viewers. And here is where we pick up that conversation.
Okay, cool. We've already been talking for quite some time now. Again, I'm Pete, and your name is?
Hector.
Hector. Okay, cool. So, like I said, we've been talking for, a good 10 minutes now. We've agreed and disagreed on a few different points here. Where would you like to start this conversation now that we're rolling?
How about we get at what I think is the biggest problem, generally as a whole, from society to politics to economics to the way we interact with ourselves and with our relationships.
Okay.
It's that we have a tragic misalignment with reality.
Okay.
And that's precisely where I think that the issue of animal rights starts to really get ambiguous. Because then, is the issue killing? Is the issue the way we're killing? Is the issue the fact that we're eating meat at all? Do humans even eat meat? So that's, yeah.
I'd say it's less about suffering. So like I was kind of saying before, if I walked up behind you and I shot you in the back of the head, there would be no suffering on your part, but it would still be inhumane because I took your life without necessity. You didn't want to die, you didn't need to die.
Okay.
So it's less about the suffering, although I agree that animal suffering is also bad. I believe that animals should have basic rights, like negative rights, such as bodily autonomy, the right to be left alone.
Okay.
Simple stuff.
All right.
Yeah, not the right to vote or drive or anything like that.
Things that are correlative to their capacity, right?
Exactly.
Naturally. And I think that's something that should be adhered to, absolutely. So things like hunting and things like that, which are ultimately for sport, only find their worth if the animal is eaten. So here's where...
But if they're eaten and there's no necessity to have eaten them in the first place, where I would argue in America there's never any necessity, because even the poorest of people in America, if you're on food stamps or you go to the food bank, that's the only food that you can get, you can still find plant-based vegan options. So there's no need to go and take the life of an animal when you could eat other non-sentient things.
Okay. So there was something that I wanted to get at, but if I'm going to respond to that, then we're going to actually have to tie these two together.
Okay.
And that's the word economics.
Okay.
So economic thinking is just a thing humans do. It's the way we measure out the worth and value and consequences of our actions, right? And so when it comes to killing animals, the way you described killing me, by just shooting me in the back of the head, for example.
Without suffering, yeah.
Yeah.
Quick and painless.
Suffering then would not justify the murder. That would be a murder. That would be the unlawful and immoral killing of an animal in that regard. Now, if we consider the economic output into the whole thing, what are we actually getting out of it? Now, see, if an animal is killed and the necessity is human nutrition, then I would have to ask the question to the person, to the vegetarian, the vegan, then is such a case a worthy cause? Is that because we have to find some ground somewhere at all? If then a family of 5 who really, man, they don't have any other food and they killed an elk, They killed an elk, and they brought it home. Is such a case a worthy case, or would it be an exception, perhaps? Or how would that be described by a vegan?
I would kind of come back to what I just said and sort of reiterate that there were other options for them, but we could explore. We could
It's
go.
a thought experiment. No, it's a thought
Sure,
experiment
okay.
where that was
So in
really
that-
the only thing they had.
So in that thought experiment, if that were really the only thing they had, it would be a completely different argument. So say if we were 200 plus years ago and we had to kill to survive, we had to kill other animals to eat them, I wouldn't have much of an argument out here, at UT Austin, right? But I would bring it back to you and say, do you have the ability to eat plants, get all of your nutrition on a fully plant-based diet without paying for an animal to have their throat slit?
Okay.
And that's not hypothetical.
Now now let's put myself in my position within a little more personal regards.
Okay.
What if under the amounts that I get monthly, under the numbers, let's say, that I get to enjoy from my bank account,
Okay.
going on a strictly plant and vegan diet would be a health risk
How so?
because I would not have sufficient enough funds, enough money.
Oh, because the presumption is that a fully plant-based diet would be more expensive?
Not even. Just let's say, for example, I went full vegetable and full fruit.
Yeah.
Such a case, under the amounts that I make,
Yeah.
given the current pricing of vegetables and fruit right now, would actually leave me malnourished.
I would argue that the cheapest things in the market are generally vegan by default. So such things as rice, potatoes, beans, lentils, legumes, seasonal fruits, seasonal vegetables are generally, if not always, cheaper than a pound of flesh.
Sure. And I think that what you just got at right there is going right back to the point here of raising awareness of how these things are possible for people.
Yeah.
And how
a lot of common misconceptions.
And we were talking about before this, I think the systematic killing, the way these animal farms are working,
Yeah.
which is totally disgusting. It's disgusting and grotesque. And I think we started the whole thing with, hopefully, God willing, there is a day when man will see the killing of another animal as heinously as he sees the act of killing another man.
And when you said that, I said, are you vegan? Because
Right.
it seems like you're vegan at heart, and I brought up cognitive dissonance, and that's when you hold two opposing viewpoints simultaneously. So it seems like in your heart, you understand, I mean, judging by what you just said, that you see it as unfit to kill an animal,
But there is
without
no need.
necessity for your survival.
Right.
So what would it take you to align your actions with your beliefs?
We'll say a little more space, a little more financial room, a little more autonomy over where I get to go and get my food from.
Okay.
Just a little more stability for myself. Just maybe, hopefully, God willing, I get to enter just slightly above the class that I'm in, and I think I would totally be able to fully incorporate a specialized and envisioned dietary plan that correlates to the values that I would like.
Are you on board with me though when I say that the cheapest foods are rice, beans, lentils, legumes, potatoes, seasonal fruits, seasonal vegetables, which you can acquire all of your nutrition from?
I'm not looking for an argument there. In terms of the nourishment, I'm not a nutrition guy.
Yeah.
I'm a philosophy guy. So I wouldn't be able to say. Those were just arguments for the devil's
Sure.
advocacy. But I think that the way we expanded this conversation has been definitely being able to expand the consciousness of your viewers to the extent that they now see this as a possibility.
And hopefully yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Cheers, brother man. All right, good convo. You got to get to class, huh? Or a meeting, you said?
A friend. I'm about to
friend.
go meet a friend.
Okay, cool, man. All right, continue to think about it. And if you watch anything after having this conversation, real easy to remember Dominion, such as you've heard, God gave us dominion over the animals, blah, blah, blah. So Dominion, real easy to remember. It's on YouTube. It's entirely free. It'll show you all of the standard legal practices. And I think someone like you who's open-minded will watch it and have a revelation. Yeah.
Heard
Right.
it here first. Dominion friends.
Yes,
Check it
sir.
out.
Check out Dominion. DominionMovement.com, baby. All right. Cheers, man.
Great.
Cheers, Hector, man.